Hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of Money Matters, because after all, money does matter. Question I'm often asked is, what should I do to get my very first buy-to-let? My problem for today, shall I take the Merc or the Maserati? Well, that one looks pretty, that one has got a lot more grunt. So for today, we'll take this one. Okay, so we're just taking you out to go and have a look at the first property, which is property in Elm Green Lane in a place called Connorsborough, which is only about 5 miles from Doncaster, 5.5 miles from the office, something like that. And I'll talk to you about it properly when I get there, but I'm actually quite excited. I'll tell you why, because I've never seen it. This property was purchased in December 2020. As we record this, it is April 2021, so from purchasing it, and to be honest, we didn't buy it very long before Christmas, and then with the Christmas break, we didn't actually really do anything to it until January. So this has been a 4-month refurb. It's going to be finished in the next week or so, so see you over there. Here we are at Elm Green, very exciting, lovely street. This is double yellow, so I can't stop here. Just going to pull on the drive, so I'll see you inside. Further down the street, it's all nice and wide. This particular end of the street, it's single file. So one of the things we did is we took out this front wall here, and we just put in parking for a couple of cars. So little bits like that. That's not really why we're here today. Let me put my glasses away, get myself sorted out, we'll have a chat in the front garden. When you're buying your first investment property, I want you to focus on 3 areas. And the first area is purchase price. You add a lot of value when you get it for the right price. Now, this property, all during lockdown and COVID and everything else, had been on the market and it was on for £200,000. As you'll see inside, it's now looking really nice, but it wasn't when we bought it. It was in need of total modernisation. The person that we bought it from was actually born here. His parents bought it so long ago that there was no requirement back in the day to register at a land registry. He'd then inherited it, and long story short, the property had never been registered. So don't let that freak you out if the property's not registered. As long as you can establish what's called good title, then it's no problem. So our solicitors fix that. But here's the first area where we added value at the purchase. The guy that we bought it from had it on the market for a long time. He wanted £200,000, but we came along with a cash offer. He wanted to move quick, and I'll give you a little insight into that as to why he wanted to move quick, because there's all sorts of different reasons. And he accepted a cash offer from us of £163,500, but we had to do it in just a few weeks. And we purchased this one in December 2020. Why would he sell it to us for £163,500 if he'd had it on the market for £200,000? And many properties are going for more than their asking price at the moment. He was a relatively elderly gentleman. I don't know, because I never met him, but I would guesstimate from what others have told me that he was in his 70s or 80s, and he was determined to move out to Brazil. Now, why was a gentleman in his 70s or 80s determined to sell a house and move out to Brazil? Well, the answer to this conundrum turns out to be he'd married a significantly younger Brazilian. She was in Brazil and he wasn't, and he wanted to change that. So, for all sorts of reasons, the vendor decided it would take a cash offer from us as long as it was quick, and off to Brazil he went. And I hope he's doing a fantastic, having a fantastic life over there, because that sounds like a brilliant thing to do when you're in your 3rd age. My parents taught me that. You're young, you're middle-aged, you don't get old anymore, you now get your 3rd age. So he's over there proving he's in fact enjoying his 3rd age over in Brazil. The other little thing I want to do before we go inside, I want to show you this. Every time we refurb a property, we put one of these signs in the garden, and you'd be amazed how many phone calls we get in terms of, and not only do you want to buy my house off me, Paul? We also get, so for example, the electrician that's working on this job lives about 3 doors away, and the only reason he was able to call us is because that in the front garden, and he said, do you need any electrical work doing? I live just down the street. So there's all sorts of benefits having a sign like that. But before I go inside, I just want to re-emphasise area number 1, adding value, buying at a good price. That doesn't mean cheap. value is what you get. So just because it's on the market for 200,000 doesn't mean you can't buy it for 163.5. How do I know? Of course we did. Anyway, let's have a look inside. Purchase price is the first area where you add value. The second area where you add value is by what you do to it, the changes that you make. That could be a planning change, it could be a structural change, it could be all sorts of changes. We've turned this 3-bed house into a 4-bed house. Now I'll show you upstairs how we did that, but many people would think, loft conversion. So, I mean, if we look over there and over the street, we can see they're all pitched roofs, and I can't actually see any loft conversions as I'm looking about here. Typically, if you're going to put a loft conversion in, you're talking big money. It's like 30, 40 grand plus. It's a sort of starting point. And it literally wouldn't be worth the money on a property like this. Loft conversion was out the window because it's not an expensive enough area. If you live in a really expensive area, it can be a great idea. Never mind a loft conversion, you could put an extra floor on it or 2 floors on it. Most people would then think, okay, well, let's do an extension out into the back garden. You could, but if you did an extension out into the back garden here to create an extra room, you're probably talking minimum 15 grand, and it could easily get to 20 grand. And then you've got the secondary complications about if at the back you've got the kitchen, which the kitchen is at the back of this, then how do you reorganise it so you don't lose all your windows and all that sort of stuff. The other way in which we added value is this room. So this room, as you can probably see, is quite big. It's all full of junk. Well, not junk, it's full of building materials at the moment. But what this is here is, as a 4-bedroom house with 1 bathroom, 1 toilet, that's not going to work. So what we're doing is we're putting a nice downstairs, we can see the start of the toilet here, toilet, shower, and then out there, where you're standing just now, is going to be a cloakroom. So it's some extra utility space. So I think it's an absolute must. This is a detached 4-bedroom house. You can't just have 1 bathroom. That's not going to work. So area of added value number 3 is this downstairs shower, cloakroom, call it what you want. Okay, so we're in bedroom number 4. As you can see, it's the one with that children's program. It's the room with the round window. It's quite cute actually, isn't it? So you can see how big it is in here. And this is a double bedroom, and we've created it by taking a bit of space this way into the room, to the other room, and we've basically just moved the front wall forwards. This, in the ceiling, it's called an RSJ, stands for rolled steel joist. So the original wall, you can see it on the floor here, you see these marks here, this is where the wall was that's come out, and so the entire bed, well, it couldn't be a bedroom, because it would have been this wide. I mean, if you put a bed in, you'd have had to climb onto the bed to get into the room, so that's not a bedroom. What you do need to have in a bedroom, by the way, in case you don't know, is a window. You can't call it a bedroom, it can't be a bedroom unless it's actually got a window. So having gone from a room that's this wide, we've now got a room that's this wide, at its narrowest point, and well, I can't even do it here, can I? So you've got more than enough space to drop a double bed if you want in this way, or that way, and then you've got space for wardrobes and everything else. So I'm not saying it's a huge double room, but it's certainly a double bedroom. This is, I don't actually know whether you'd call this bedroom 2 or bedroom 1. There's 2 front bedrooms at very similar sizes, but just a few more little pointers. Wherever we can, keep original features like this. That's a nice old fireplace, so it's just another way to add value. People like little touches like that. You can see all the walls are looking very flat. That's because they've all been skimmed. So typically, house this age, it was all wallpapered, and when you pull the wallpaper off, you're going to lose out. The proper way to do it is just skim the entire thing. So you can see we've skimmed all the walls. The other little bits and pieces I'll point out to you, things like this, all the sockets and all the switches, they're all chrome. It's that sort of brushed chrome. You could save a little bit of money, and I'm talking literally a few £100 on the whole house if you used the cheap plastic ones. But we believe it's worth putting in the metallic ones, and we see it back in the valuation every time. So just another little tip for you, that's how to add value. And you can see, if you look here, that these are all new doors. The doors in this place were all higgledy-piggledy, nothing really matched anything, so we've just chucked all the doors away, and because they weren't original. Sometimes if they're nice original doors with like finger plates on and everything, it can be worth keeping them, but we just thought, no, we just changed a lot. Let me show you one thing I haven't drawn your attention to yet. Picture rails, I like picture rails whenever I can. Look at this. This is from Mary, our interior designer. So, boring old white. I don't know because I haven't seen the final colour scheme, but it looks like, from what I've seen around the place, we're going for this kind of colour, and she's put together a colour palette, a combination of colours for the woodwork, for the doors, for the walls, upstairs, downstairs, feature walls. And if you've got that level of attention to detail, you'll get reflected in the valuation. Because to be honest, you know, this paint versus that paint ain't a lot of difference. So you might be surprised that this place is going to be finished in a couple of weeks. Well, all the structural work's done, all the plastering's done, all the electrical wiring's done, all the heating's done. So the kitchen's just getting finished off now. You'll see that when we go downstairs. And decorators are in next week. So we're a few weeks away from completion. Okay, so this is the lounge. It's nice and big, lovely high ceilings, lots of original features, and quite a nice fireplace as well. So that old gas fire is for the bin, as I'm sure you'd agree. But we're actually going to keep the fire surround. I don't know what the interior designer's actually going to do. I believe there's a feature wall going in here. But other than that, we shouldn't get in the guys' way. We should keep moving so they can keep working. Okay, and here we are in the kitchen. All the structural work's been done in here. These double doors are brand new. We've relayed this out so it can be a dining kitchen. And sometimes less is more. We could have crammed this with units on all walls, but you can see we've actually left quite a lot of space. So we've got plenty of space here in this area for a nice dining table and chairs, because it has got a dining room, but most people, in my experience anyway, tend to eat as a family in the kitchen. So we've also got plenty of storage in here. You can see that's the top of the cellar going down. We actually can't get into the cellar because it's, well, we could, but I'll probably break my leg or something. So it's again quite an interesting colour scheme, and the point is it's all colour coordinated. Even the lights, we've got looks like brass, light brush brass, or maybe brush chrome. But we haven't just chucked it all together. There's a plan for this, and that plan has been in place pretty much since the day that we bought it. If you look down here, you can see there's a very obvious space where you would extend backwards. But as I said a couple of times, you could do that, and it wouldn't be a bad thing to do. It's just you're going to be spending, it would have probably put an extra 20-25 grand minimum onto the cost of this project, and I'm really not sure we would have seen it back in the extra value, because a 4-bed is a 4-bed. It's a nice big house anyway. They're all full-size bedrooms, and I've just learned something while I'm out here with you. I didn't know until I just looked up there, we've actually got solar panels on the roof. I think far too many people just totally ignore the garden and just, it's an afterthought. We always put in money for landscape gardening to make it look really neat and tidy. Number one, it's going to make it far more attractive for tenants to want to move in. And number two, it really does impact the valuation. So this garden's obviously in a bit of a state now, but when we finish the works, I think next week or the week after, we've got some landscape gardeners coming in. They're going to trim everything up, make it all look nice, and that will seriously impact your valuation. And finally, the only other thing to point out here in the garden is it's got a garage over here that's accessed from the back lane. So there's not too much to do in the garden, it's just a bit of a tidy up. Obviously clear all the building materials away, and fix the steps up to the garage, and that's about it. Oh, and knock down that, what's left of a fairly dilapidated greenhouse. Okay, so just to summarise on the numbers and give you area number 3. So that was Elm Green in Collinsborough. Area number 3, where you add value, is on your exit, by what you do with it once you've refurbished it. So you need to buy it well, and it was on the market for 200, we bought it for 163.5. You need to refurbish it well by doing things that add value, and critically by not doing things that don't add value. My rule of thumb is I like to add £3 of value for every £1 of spend. Having done that, having generated value when we bought it, having generated more value as we've refurbished it, and I've tried to explain, especially for your first buy-to-let property, your first investment property, how you should add value. The exit, well, the exit in this case, how do you add value on the exit? We're going to put a mortgage on it, because this is all done for cash, and we're going to keep it. So £280,000 valuation should give us a mortgage of £210,000. So we should have all of our cash back plus an extra £10,000. But Paul, you've just done that with £200,000 of cash. What you could do if you haven't got cash is you could do exactly what we did. We've borrowed the money 100% private joint venture finance. So a lovely man, Gren from Switzerland, has invested £200,000. We've given him first charge security on the property, and we're paying him 6.5% per annum. So if we do the project in 6 months or less, which we will, then as it happens, 6.5% on 200,000 for 6 months is £6,500. So the cost of finance for that property is £6,500, and we've done it all using none of our own money. And if you like the idea of doing property using none of your own money, then hit the link underneath this video and get yourself along to Wealthy Property. Okay, so here we are at William Bradford, and I've just learned something. The reason this is called William Bradford Street, William Bradford, I never knew this, is actually one of the Pilgrim Fathers. So one of the people that went over there to the good old US of A before it was the US of A. Okay, so let's have a look around. I haven't been here for months, and we're almost finished. I think this one was 150 something to buy it. Slightly higher in terms of the refurbishment, and you'll see why when we go inside. But again, it's that point one, buy well. Make sure you buy at a good value. Originally they were trying to get, £200,000 for this property, but we negotiated it down to 158,500. We looked at the property, looked at that floor plan, and worked out how we could add some value. So we're expecting this one to revalue at £280,000 as well. The exit from this one is just to put a tenant in it, so it's refinance it and hold it. And the rent here is even stronger. Okay, so welcome to the inside of William Bradford. We're actually having the property dressed. Now, what does that mean? Imagine Barrett's or whoever with a show home. So they don't show you an empty property, they show you a property with some furniture in it. So another little top tip for you in terms of getting the best valuation on exit is strongly consider dressing the property. Now you'll see here quite a number of the same features that I was talking about other places, good quality fittings and sockets. But also I was talking to you in the other property about a feature wall. So what's a feature wall? This is a feature wall. So it's actually 3D, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's, as well as being a different colour, this is actually wood. So it's not difficult to put together, it doesn't cost a lot of money, but it adds a lot of value. This room, this ensuite, and the room next door, the bedroom next door, was actually the front room. It was massive. So we've taken what was the front room, and we've turned it into 2 bedrooms and an ensuite. Can't see it, but it's bloody hot in here. So they've got all the heaters on, they've got the extractors on, because something happened a few days, and it would be on a Friday afternoon, wouldn't it? So last Friday afternoon, there's some plumbers in here just doing little bits and pieces. In the in the loft above the ceiling, there's a disused water tank. And with the combi boiler, we don't need a water tank anymore, so we disconnected it, and everyone thought it was empty. Now, whatever the plumber was doing, it's not his fault. He just moved it, and suddenly we emptied a water tank into the property, and it would happen over the weekend, wouldn't it? So he did it, thought it was all fine, left. We come in on Monday morning and have a look at what's happened. What was a completely finished, ready to rock and roll property, and all supposed to be happening this week really, it was supposed to be getting cleaned, garden, and it's set us back a week because we can't let the valuer in until this is all dried out, which is why it's a tropical temperature in here. Every bit of heating's on, even though it's warm outside, because we're just trying to dry out the house and all the extractor fans are on. But at the end of the day, stuff's going to happen when you do property projects like this. Your reaction could be, if it's your first investment, oh my God, it's a disaster. No, it's not. A disaster is when a ship sinks and 400 people die. That is a disaster. This is a minor irritation. It's a few £100. So what? What have we done fundamentally with this? We've turned a 2-bed into a 4-bed, added value. We've changed the layout, changed the flow, added value. We've used the interior designer, added value. And we've upgraded all of the infrastructure, like new heating, rewired it and whatever. And you might be thinking, well, rewiring's really expensive. Well, I had the electricians around doing a little job at my house a couple of days ago. And to rewire this entire house cost £3,800, which I don't think is that bad, really. So if you've got something, I would far rather do it properly, and then you know it's done for the long term, rather than try and bodge it, because we probably could have bodged it, I don't know, for £1,000 or something. But that's the kind of stuff, I'm an engineer, that's the kind of stuff I want to invest in to do it properly. And here's where we've spent most of the money. So at the back here, we've put an extension on, because, you know, the walls aren't elastic. At William Bradford here, there was no space to be kind of clever and creative internally. It was just too small. So here we've had to extend. So that is the old back wall. So again, we've had to put some supporting steels in to make sure. So this area, which is a lovely big area, this is going to be lounge, well it is, sorry, lounge, dining, kitchen. This was all neat and tidy, but because of the water leak, we've had to send the trades back in again. So as you can see here, it's literally just tidy up that grouting, get them sockets on the wall, and it's in. To have this protective plastic pulled off it and whatever else, but it's pretty clear. And standing here in the kitchen, it's a lovely family space because you've got acres of room over there. It's similar to Elm Green at Conisbrough where we just were. We've put in a lot of glass so that there's a lot of light coming in. Obviously this is all new because this is the extension of it. But you really do feel like you're connecting to the outside space. And I think just it adds a lot of value. Let's go and have a look in the garden. I'll show you some before and after shots of the garden. So the garden's not finished yet, but it does look a hell of a lot better than it did. We've now got, you know, a nice patio area. We've got rid of the old shed that was there. Sorted out the door to the garage. So that's a proper full-size 1.5 car garage. And that again adds value, something very valuable to the family. We want this to be a lovely family home. We've already got top dollar rent for it. Really, really lovely lady. So you need to look after the outside space as well as the inside space if you're going to get maximum valuation and a good fair rent. Hope you've enjoyed this tour. Now, let's go and talk to some people about being property investors. Hello, Megan, what's your name?
Megan.
Good. First question was correct. Second question, how long have you been here?
A week.
That's not true, you haven't been here a full week.
No, this is the end of my first week, yeah.
Look at that, she was terrified there, wasn't she? In with a nasty boss man, he's asking all these difficult questions. Seriously though, Megan, are you interested in property?
Yes.
Are you surprised at how many other people in this building are interested in property?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't normally ask a lady this, but how old are you?
21.
Okay. Do you think that a 21-year-old can buy a house?
Not me personally, no.
Not you?
No.
That's interesting. Why?
Lack of funds.
Lack of funds?
Yes.
Do you know anyone in this building at a relatively young age that has bought a property?
No.
No?
No.
No. What would be really, really old to get your first property?
Like 40.
40?
Yeah.
What would be really, really young to get your first property?
20.
20?
Ish, yeah.
Ish? Okay.
Ballpark.
Ballpark?
Yeah.
I was 18 when I got my first property.
Okay.
My oldest son was 20 when he got his first property. My oldest daughter was 23 when she got her first property. And my youngest son, who you haven't met, but I'm sure you will, bought his first property. Josh has filmed it all, and he is 12.
Fuck him then.
She just did a double take, didn't she? Okay, so you've joined the crazy mob. Are you going to stay with us at Touchstone Education and
Yes,
learn how to make millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds in property?
Yes, do plan to, so yes.
She's new, she'll learn. Okay, and let's welcome wonderful, gorgeous team member number 2. Emma, what's your name?
Oh, I think it's Emma.
I think it's Emma.
Yeah.
She was prepared for me that time. Emma, how long have you been with us?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. And you're just coming up to your 21st birthday, aren't you?
That's correct, yes.
It was Emma's birthday yesterday.
It was my birthday yesterday,
Yeah,
a bit older than 21.
It's not true. So, Emma, are you interested in property?
I am, yes.
Okay. And has that interest grown or diminished while you've been associated with the mad Touchstone lot?
Grown.
Have you been quite surprised at what some people are doing in terms of
100%,
deals?
yes.
Okay. So, how long have you been here?
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Feels like forever. That's a good thing.
Good, thank you.
Emma basically tells us what to do, and then we just do it. That's roughly it, isn't it?
Well, the first part, that's correct, yeah.
Okay. She's a bit too... She's so sharp, she's going to cut herself. So, just give me an example of something that surprised you with regard to one of the team here, or something that you've heard one of our students do.
The strategies that people use with property.
Okay, so that's interesting. So, are you at the stage where you've got any investment property?
No,
No? Would you like some investment property?
definitely.
Okay. How about your own home?
Yes.
Yes, to all of the above.
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, you haven't previously done it before you came here. What's in your head as to why you hadn't done it before?
I think because I'm a single parent,
Okay.
I think I've kind of always gone for the easiest option,
Right.
which just seemed to be renting. Obviously, my eyes are getting open since I've been here and seeing how achievable it is and things like that, but that's certainly been my fear.
Okay, you're sparking some questions in my head now. Do you mind if I get a little bit personal?
Go for it.
Okay, so your property where you live now, how much are you paying for it in rent?
£500 a month.
Okay, what's it worth?
£130,000.
Okay, do you know what the mortgage would be on a £130,000 house?
A lot less than £500 a month.
A lot less than £500 a month. Do you also know that as of this week, you can get 95% mortgages?
I do, because Abby's just told me.
Abby's
but
just-
I wouldn't have.
Abby's just told you, okay. So, 120 did you say?
130.
130, okay. So that'd be 13, so that'd be 6.5. So you'd have to put down £6,500 deposit. Do you think you could come up with a way in which you could possibly get your mitts on £6,500 sometime soon?
I do,
I
yes.
do. And a lot of people, Emma's obviously very professional, very bright. You can see how fast she's coming back at me. A lot of people like you, Emma, would be able to come up with £6,500 if it was something as important as buying a house, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah? And it won't be just £6,500 because you've got a couple of grand for legal fees and this and that. Round number is probably 10. So what's more important to you, getting your own home with a mortgage or getting an investment property?
Get my own home for a mortgage.
Okay, perfect. And I think that's very sensible because that will then help you get investment properties afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to put you on the spot now. When are you going to buy your house?
2022, January the 1st.
January the... They're specific. I like specific. What I don't like, however, is so far away. That is 8 months away virtually. I want you to do it quicker than that. I think if you put your mind to it, you could get it done by August.
Okay.
You up for a challenge?
We'll see how busy you keep me, and then we'll see if we've got a bet.
All right. You heard it here first. In fact, let's do this. My birthday is on the 3rd of August. I would like that to be my birthday present. A little set of keys.
Are you going to be my investor?
Well, let's talk. I've never been asked that before on a video, but let's talk. In fact, let's not. Right, any questions you want to ask me?
No, I don't think so. Other
Smashing.
than one I've just asked you, but thank you.
Thank you for being so game.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for looking after us all.
You're welcome.
Charlotte, looking gorgeous as always. How are you?
Thank you, I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
You're an old hand, aren't you?
I am. I'm an existing OG.
What's an OG?
Original girl.
Oh, so, okay. Half the time when I'm talking to Charlotte, I have to get to decode it because I don't know what she's talking about. So, Charlotte,
Yes.
you not in this office, in the old office. You came and sat down with me.
We did.
When was that?
About December 2019?
Okay.
Ish.
So I think it was, yeah.
November, December time.
Yeah, a year and a half. So that was December 2019. We're now recording this in April 2021. So that's round numbers, let's call it a year and a half. When you came to see me, I'd got this mad idea that I'd just talk to people in the office and see if I could get them to buy some houses,
Yes.
roughly.
Uh-huh.
Now, when I came out with this wild proposition, did you honestly think he's off his trolley or, yeah, he can help me do this?
Yeah, I thought that I would never be able to buy a property at my age. I was 21 at the time, had no savings, I'd just come out of uni, spent so much money partying, going on holidays, was living off my salary month to month with nothing left over. So I was like, how the hell am I going to buy a property? I've got no deposit, basically.
So that's the long hand. Shorthand, she thought I was barking, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So we sat down, and how long did it take us to come up with a plan?
Half an hour, an hour?
Yeah, about half an hour.
Yeah, not long.
Yeah. And if I take you back to before you bought, well, you didn't buy a house, you bought a flat.
Yeah, I bought an apartment, yeah.
So, got a lovely 2-bedroom flat. And she asked me difficult questions to this day about, I've got a balcony, can I have a jacuzzi on it? But if I put a jacuzzi on it, how do I get it? So I have to come up with innovative solutions like...
So that's why I need a house to put jacuzzi in the back garden.
Yeah. First world problems. let's go back to when you were renting.
Yes.
Because you were renting with your best mate, weren't you?
I was, yes.
How much rent were you paying?
We used to pay, well, all in with bills and stuff, it was about £900 between us, so let's say £450
each.
Yes.
When you got your first flat, how long did, from our conversation to you actually getting the keys, how long?
I got the keys February. I actually got the keys before we even completed on the property.
You did. I forgot that.
So yeah,
a little talk.
We did.
Yeah, it was nice, wasn't it? Do the work before you move in.
Yeah, I got the keys about a month before I moved in because I was literally going to be homeless because we'd handed our notice into our rental property.
Oops.
So I actually got the keys mid-February and I completed March the 13th.
Sweet. So from conversation to actual moving in,
Yeah.
4 months?
Yeah, something like that.
Maybe less.
Yeah.
But, okay. Now let's talk about the numbers for your flat.
Mm-hmm.
Your mortgage, so you were paying 450 quid to some other landlord so they could make money off capital appreciation.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your mortgage on your new place?
It's £303 a month.
I love the way she says 303. I would say 300, but whatever. But you brought your best mate with you, didn't you?
I did.
And how much would your best mate paying you?
She was paying me £350 a month.
So she was buying you a house.
Essentially, yeah.
Have you got a friend that's buying you a house? That's the way to consider a tenant, a friend that's buying you a house. Now that we're sort of further down the track, what's your next part of your plan?
So I am currently looking at now a house, so I can put a jacuzzi in the garden. For
Obviously
myself.
important. You can't have a who would have a house without a jacuzzi?
A bar
Ridiculous.
in the back garden as well. Do you know, like everyone's doing those sheds with bars in? That's what I'm going to have in my garden. Anyway.
Everyone's doing those sheds with, but I'm not.
Because you can have a swimming pool in your garden.
I am having it.
Exactly. Why do you need a bar in a shed when you've got a swimming pool?
What are you doing? You're looking to buy a house?
So yeah, I'm looking to buy a 3-bedroom house myself to live in, to then keep the apartment, to rent that and use that as a buy-to-let.
Sweet. So you got your first house when you're 21?
Yeah.
So your first buy-to-let, you'll be, I don't know, 22, 23 or something?
23 now, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. So I need people like you, the old hands, the older people in the organisation,
Yes.
to teach the younger ones how you can do it. Because most people in your position, even if they did have a flat, I'm going to say 99 out of 100 of them would sell the flat and buy a house.
100%, yeah. Everyone's like, why don't you just sell it? But
Yeah.
I know that the profit that's going to give me is going to cover the extra mortgage on the new house. So essentially I'm going to be no further out of pocket, but have 2 properties that are both increasing in
You buy to let
value,
make a
so-
profit.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll actually, yeah. And 2 properties going to have value. Perfect. So how are you getting the money together to buy this house?
Well, as you mentioned before, we can now get 95% mortgages and it doesn't have to be...
You're not a first time buyer.
No, which I was very surprised for you to confirm for me the other day. You can actually use it on your second property as long as it's going to be your main home of residence.
Boom! 95% all the way to the bank, literally. So what advice has an old hand like you at the grand old age of 23 got to young people out there with regards to getting on the property ladder? What do they need to do?
You just need to learn about it. You don't actually need loads and loads of money. I always say to you, like, I made some sacrifices for the first few months whilst I saved that initial deposit, which wasn't even much. I put about, including legal fees and everything, about £5,000 initially.
Wow.
My deposit on my flat was £3,600, which I was able to save quite easily over 4 months' time. So just make those initial sacrifices and then eventually you can reap the rewards.
Great advice. Okay, and now we have the equally wonderful, gorgeous Josh.
Thank you, Paul.
Josh, how long have you been with us?
I've been at Touchstone for about 5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
So kind of in the middle of the 2 lovely ladies we talked to and the equally lovely Charlotte.
Yeah.
When you came and talked to me first about money, because this is Money Matters, you know Money Matters, what was the problem you were trying to solve?
So I was trying to buy a Mercedes.
Yeah, trying to buy a Merc. He's 18, for Christ's sake. So he wants a Merc. Well, hey, obviously you do. So we'll come on to what he wants next. What was stopping you?
My credit score,
What was your credit score?
it was in the 500s.
Do you even know what a credit score is if you're 18 years old? If you don't, check him out. At least he knew what a credit score was. So we went through a process, didn't we?
Yeah, I did.
You brought me your credit score. We looked through it. What kind of mistakes were on it?
I had a CCJ which wasn't mine.
CCJ, a county court judgment. So he had an incorrect CCJ logged against him. Did you know this? More than 1/3 of the credit reports in the UK are wrong. They've got errors on. So you had somebody else's CCJ, didn't you?
Did, yes.
Boom, get rid of that. How long did that take?
It took a month.
A month. Sweet.
Yeah.
What else was up there?
I had my whole of my dad's rating on there, and half of it wasn't actually my dad's. It was just somebody with my dad's name.
Yeah, you've been adopted financially by somebody else, which is a bit mad. And I don't think you're on the electoral register, were you?
No, I wasn't on the electoral.
Why weren't you on the electoral register? What are you doing? You've been derelict in your...
I just turned 18.
He was too young. He hadn't been through an election, so he hadn't been put on the electoral register. So I said, well, that's no problem. You get put on the electoral register the same day.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, did you?
No.
How long did it take you to get on the electoral register?
Same day.
There you go. It's not what you... With money, it isn't about actually having money. It's about knowing how to control money. It's knowing how to use money. So, when are you getting your new car?
I've got it. I got it the same month.
I might have known that because it's in the car park. What are you doing next week?
Next week, I'm off to view another property.
And you're in your property. And am I correct in thinking that you've got approval in principle for...
I have agreement in principle for 5% mortgage.
For a
95% mortgage, yeah.
5% deposit?
Yeah.
Which bank?
RBS.
RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland. How long did it take you to get that approval in principle?
Literally the same day I tried to get it.
That's what we call him around here, Jude, same day cameraman. What advice would you have for anyone out there that wants to get their credit score sorted out, or wants a car, or wants a house, or wants a whatever?
Go see Paul Smith.
Well, actually, don't all come and say, well, I'd love to see as many as you possibly can. I can't actually see all of you. What I'd like you to do is do some Touchstone education courses. And I think they should start with Well Through Property.
I agree. £99.
£99.
Link in the description.
Well Through Property. Nice, sweet. Another lovely member of the Touchstone team. What's your name?
Jamie.
Jamie. Jamie, how long have you been here?
6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
Does, yeah, absolutely.
Didn't see him for the first month. When I came back from France, like, who are all these people in my office? So, what do you reckon to working here at Touchstone, by the way?
Hands down the best place I've ever worked.
Fantastic. Great to hear.
I spent a lot of time working very hard and not really feeling appreciated. But at Touchstone, it's completely different. Everybody strives to make other people successful and celebrate that success with them at any opportunity.
Brilliant. Have you been surprised by what some of your fellow team members have done in terms of, buying properties, their ages, that sort of stuff?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did it make you feel a bit kind of left behind?
Well, yeah, I mean, Gordy is about 8 months younger than I.
Right.
And so I sort of looked at him and thought,
how's he done that?
wow, he's done pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, in my field I did quite well, but not to the degree that Gordy has found wealth.
Yeah, sweet. So this whole Money Matters video is about money mattering, and it's about your first investment property. Now, Jamie, you own your own house, yeah? Mm-hmm. And that's brilliant for someone your age. I would say that's moderately unusual. You're quite young to be a homeowner, I would say.
Nowadays, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but we had a conversation, I think it was 7 days ago.
7 days ago, yeah.
And I explained to you how I bought this office. Exchange, late completion, keys undertaken. So I've got a £1.4 million office, but I only used 50 grand. What did you do?
I found a pub for sale.
Yep.
It was no longer being used, and adopted the same principle.
That is smart. He listened to what I said. He didn't hang about. He went bang and got an investment property in a week. How much have you agreed to exchange on this empty pub for?
£10,000.
So it's £10,000. So, okay, is this a no money down strategy? No. What are you going to do with it?
Converted to 3 townhouses.
So casual. Converted to 3 townhouses. Okay. And you've got quite an interesting arrangement as to how you're paying for the pub, aren't you?
Yes.
So do you want to just share that with everyone out there in internet land?
So the programme is that we engage with a contractor who will undertake the work on a minimum deposit, if any. Mm-hmm. Use his reputable line of credit.
Yep.
To finance
trade accounts, whatever.
Finance the job to completion of the first townhouse. Mm-hmm. Then refinance the first townhouse.
Yep.
To pay the builder to the completion of the works.
Brilliant. So house number 1 pays for the builder.
House number 2 is then completed, and then that money, upon refinancing, is then used to pay the vendor.
Sweet. So the first house pays for the builder, the second house pays for the site, and the third house
is profit.
There you go. And I've said it so often, but I've never had such a clean example of this. especially, you know, projects like this are literally a third, a third, a third. You should be aiming to spend a third on the site, a third for the construction, and a third for profit. And it just so happens he's got 3 townhouses, so it's just a sweet deal. He's done this in 6 weeks. God knows what he's going to do in 6 months. And what on earth is he going to be doing 6 years from now? I don't know. I'll probably be sat down in his posh office somewhere in London on Pall Mall or something. Maybe not Pall Mall, Queen lives there, but whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Thank you.